There exists an ancient order originating in the Ionian Isles dedicated to the preservation of balance. Order, chaos, light, and darkness. All things must exist in perfect harmony, for such is the way of the universe. This order is known as the Kinku, and it employs a triumvirate of shadow warriors to uphold its causes in the world. Shen was born into this order, while Zed was an orphan that was taken in by the order's master, Shen's father. Both of these ninjas were the head of their class, and any match between these rivals ended in a draw. Zed desperately wanted to win the favor of his master, but could never best Shen in a duel. Becoming frustrated, Zed sought an advantage. The young ninja ventured into a sealed part of the clan's temple, where he found an ornate, foreboding box. Sensing the dark knowledge within, Zed knew he should not open it, but he peered inside nonetheless. In an instant, shadows touched his mind, revealing techniques that had long been hidden. Now armed with a secret edge, he challenged Shen, and this time he defeated the master's son. He expected praise and recognition in his moment of victory, but somehow the master knew Zed had used forbidden ways, and banished him. Humiliated, the young ninja wandered for years. His bitterness turned into ambition, and he began to train others in the style of the shadows. During the time of Zed's banishment, Shen was trained to become the Eye of Twilight, and thereupon to dispassionately determine what must be done in the interests of equilibrium. As his final trial to ascend to this position, he was made to attend the Takanu, a ceremony in which his father was tortured before his eyes to test his resolve. Any reaction whatsoever would have resulted in his immediate disqualification, but he never averted his gaze and never blinked, not once. As the Eye of Twilight, Shen must take the decisions which would buckle the wills of ordinary men, removing all emotion from the equation. Years later, as Zed's power grew, so did his circle of followers. But he knew that without the box, his technique would never be perfect. One day, Zed looked at his followers and saw that his students were now an army. He led them back to the temple to claim his prize. At the gates, he was surprised to find the old master waiting, receiving Zen and his disciples as if they were welcome guests. The old man laid his sword at Zed's feet, declaring that he had failed Zed as his master. By banishing his former student, the master had doomed Zed to the shadows, instead of leading him to the balanced path. The old man implored Zed to enter the temple, destroy the box, and lead his followers to balance. The dark ninja followed the master inside. Moments later, the assembled ninjas heard Zed cry out in pain. Mysteriously, he emerged unscathed and threw the severed head of the master at Shen's feet. Screaming in rage, Zed commanded his followers to slaughter the master's students and seize the box. That day, the old ninja order fell. Though many students died, some escaped thanks to Shen's heroic efforts. Now the temple is a dark training ground for the Order of the Shadow. Zed rules as the Order's master, and his etiquette is simple. Perfect one's technique, and kill all ninjas who refuse to embrace the shadows. And that is the rivalry between Shen and Zed. Now that we know why they hate each other, I'm going to talk about how they would compare in a 1v1 scenario within the League of Legends. Zed is an assassin, while Shen is a tank. Under these pretenses, we should know that Zed will most likely win early, but as the game goes on, he should have a harder time killing Shen and getting more of an advantage, and it will eventually even out towards the end, making it harder for Zed to win. Now, of course, the league is based around a 5v5 scenario, and so Shen will become more useful for his team in team fights, but that's not what we are focusing on. In a 1v1 scenario, most likely, if Zed can end the game early, he will come out on top. But the longer the game goes on, Shen will become more dominant and harder to kill, and most likely will take a few kills of his own on Zed. So unless Zed stacks large amounts of armor pen, he is going to be in some serious trouble facing Shen late game. And even stacking armor pen will still make it extremely hard if Shen merely stacks health and armor. The more health and the more armor he has, no matter what Zed builds, he's still going to be extremely hard to kill come late game. In the one match me and one of my friends did, we are about the same ELO, I crushed him as Zed early game, but as I said before, the game went longer, and it took some sneaky tactics in order for me to close out the game and get the victory. But of course, Zed used sneaky tactics anyways. Kind of part of his lore. Overall, I give the advantage to Zed. Zed can zone out Shen early, and if he cannot get enough gold to buy armor, then that just kind of makes it so Zed wins anyways. So, advantage Zed. Thank you for watching. This has been Lore of the League with Zarlin. I'll try and do these once a week. Thank you for watching. Good night.